Welcome back, everybody. This is Eric and Chad here with Iraq Veteran 8888. Today we've got another Gun Gripe episode for you, and we are going to be getting into a couple of House bills that are on the chopping block. We are going to combine these two bills into one video. We're not trying to, cover you guys up with too much material, but we want you to be abreast of things that are going on, and anything we see, we like to make a video just to get word out there for you guys, so we can all keep our ear to the ground and make sure we're doing the right thing and fighting against this type of stuff happening to us. Before we get started, I'd like to thank our friends at Sonoran Desert Institute. They've got some great gunsmithing programs. If you're wanting a career in firearms technology, they accept all different types of financial aid. So if you're a military veteran, you got your GI Bill and whatnot, you can definitely get that to work for you. Excellent distance learning programs in the field of gunsmithing technology. So check them out, Sonoran Desert Institute. All right. So we're going to get into the beans and bullets here. One of the bills is called U.S. House Bill 4505, and the other one is HB 4992. One of them is a appropriation bill, which is basically a budget, right, that they're trying to pass. And this particular bill, the 4505, has some anti-gun crap thrown in there in the mix in this appropriations bill. So we'll kind of talk about that briefly here.
Look, so these appropriations bills are like, pages and pages and pages and pages just piled on top of each other of how much money the government is going to appropriate for these various programs.
Waste.
Yeah, literally. I mean, some of these programs that they want to put money into, you're reading it and you're like, my tax money is going toward what? All right. The big thing with this is, number one, is $40 million of taxpayer money to go towards an I cannot talk this morning.
Incentivization program.
Incentivization.
God. Here today when rednecks pronounce big words.
You'd think I'm like just some boobless rube redneck. Jeez. Well, wait a minute. Oh, we are. Incentivization. I still can't say it.
Say it slow and break it down.
Incentivization program.
Not bad.
For red flag and gun licensing laws. All right. Apparently, it is the opinion of some in Congress that they need $40 million to trample on the due process rights of their constituents. We've talked about red flag laws time and time again. They are bad juju. All right. And this is from FPC, by the way. As if that weren't bad enough, there is an additional $10 million allocated to a pilot program for gun buyback and relinquishment. Wait a minute. I saw recently some gun buybacks that it made me sad because one of the items in the gun buyback was an old Daewoo.
I saw
rifle.
That.
Like,
who would give up their K2?
Man, like, come
on, you can't be a roof Korean without your K2 service rifle.
But like the guns that come out in these gun buybacks, like a lot of times it's local communities. Okay, there's really nothing been done on a federal level as of this point, but $10 million for a pilot program. They're going to test the waters with it and just see how many people just voluntarily give up their rights. That's what you're doing. If you are, if the government is buying a gun back from you, they're not buying it back because they never owned it in the first place. But if they are paying you a small sum of money, which is nowhere close to what the gun is actually worth, for you to relinquish that firearm to them, I mean, it's just insane. Why would you ever think to do that?
Let me play devil's advocate for a moment. All right?
We're making the streets
I'm not saying
safer.
I agree with buybacks. I think buybacks are a terrible idea because, again, you can't buy back something that didn't belong to you in the first place. So the call to buyback is kind of dumb. But I can see why they call it a buyback because they're like, well, we'll buy them back from you if you don't want them. I guess maybe that's their logic. But here's the thing. They'll buy back anything. Okay?
Here we go.
Look, here's the thing. You show up with a zip gun tied to a piece of 2x4 you made in a hardware store for $10.
Somebody recently did that,
and
too.
you turn in 100 of them and get $200 a piece for them. Well, that's capitalism, okay? Now,
they did do that.
What if you had a random gun laying around that is so broken and decrepit and messed up that it's beyond repair, and you just want to get it out of the gene pool? Okay. That's why when you look at these tables full of guns, you always see mostly turds. Mm-hmm. No one turns in anything worth anything because they know the gun isn't worth anything to begin with, so they're just getting rid of it just to get rid of it. So if you just want to get rid of some turds, sure, whatever. For that reason, maybe I could understand it. What gets me about this appropriation bill that bothers me so much is they can spend essentially $50 million in taxpayer revenue on these programs, which are not going to work, right? But they can't spend $50 million on trying to get more ranges out there. I mean, think about how much land $50 million would buy, right? They could set up, ranges in certain areas. They could look at the United States and go, okay, where is there a lack of ranges for people to go and shoot, right? And do a shotgun stand for 4-H and do a camping area for 4-H and have where the Boy Scouts and the Girl Scouts and whoever else can go and set up and do the rifle training. Like, that's what they need to be appropriating money for. If we're going to blow money on random stuff, why not, why does it always have to be an anti-gun measure that they appropriate money for? They never want to appropriate money to build ranges or to bring gun training into schools or to bring gun safety classes into schools or after school programs or things like that. Boys and Girls Club. I mean, they could bring air rifles back to certain schools to just promote safe, firearms handling and marksmanship, right? There's a lot of things that they could do with that money. But no, they're going to waste it on such a draconian and random undertaking that is really not even going to accomplish anything. And which, by definition, is most certainly 110% a complete and utter waste of money.
Yep. We've said before that,
among many other things, a waste of money.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, it's
like
crazy.
giving the Taliban, millions of dollars of military hardware. Well, by proxy, giving it to them. They didn't give it to them directly, but they knew the people they gave it to were going to.
That's another story for another day.
That's another story for another day.
So we've talked about this in previous videos, but teaching youngsters about firearms, not only safety, but handling and the responsibility that comes with it, builds character, and it promotes just responsibility as a whole, and it builds maturity. Okay? Kids these days, they're just immature rats, some of them. They need some other outlet besides this, TikTok and all this other nonsense. I mean, the Chinese basically own TikTok still, don't they? Yeah. I mean, so what propaganda are your kids...
I was banned on TikTok within hours of creating an account.
Yeah.
So I don't know what it's like to be on TikTok.
But what is this teaching your kids? What can a firearm teach your kids? Responsible gun handling, maturity, responsibility, character building,
self-sufficiency.
Yes.
Harvesting your own food.
Yes. These are the
humanely harvesting your own food.
These are the things that are missing, today. And, for this crap for the government to spend money on, it's just insane to see how much money just gets thrown out there. And we won't even talk about like the infrastructure bill and all this mess and just the trillions of dollars that have been added to the federal debt for what?
They could take that money and give every taxpayer $40,000. That's how much money it is.
Can we get a mule?
Every taxpayer will get $40,000 if they were to divvy that money out to the citizens.
I would like a mule as well, please. Maybe a milk and cow, I mean, some chickens. Some chickens.
That could probably be arranged.
I mean, can we do that? Oh, wait a minute.
But of course, we got to put all the pork in there and all the black projects and all the money laundering and things. We have to buy all this art. Anyway, we're not going to go there. All right, so our next bill is H.R. 4992. Now, Chad and I recently, I think that video is going to go live before this one, so you'll be seeing this one after the fact. But we just did a video about Ted Douche.
Douche? Is that his name?
Douche. Douchebag. This guy in Florida who's a douchebag. Put out this bill, H.R. 4992. To amend Title 18 United States Code to increase the age at which a rifle or shotgun may be acquired from a federally licensed firearms dealer and for other purposes. Now, this is the one, if I'm not mistaken, this one doesn't have a lot of text.
No, these bills are so brand new. This one was just introduced on the 10th of August.
Right, so there's not a ton. Yeah, there's no text.
Yeah.
So there's not even like a ton of information yet. But, we did that video recently where we talked about, is Florida pro-gun. You see this rift that seems to be developing, right? I believe it was Brobart. What's that?
Breitbart.
Breitbart. No, what was that
Breitbart
lady's first name?
Oh, Boebert.
Boebert. Yeah. What was her name though?
Can't remember.
The Congresswoman. Anyway,
Let's consult the almighty Google.
she's real pro-gun, and she seems, she's the one that was like carrying on the Hill and everything, and making, she's part of the 2A caucus with Thomas Massey and everything. So
Lauren
Boebert. Mm-hmm. Lauren Boebert posted a meme the other day that really made a lot of sense to me. They're like, well, the left wants to see the whole country be like Portland, and the right wants to see the whole country be like Florida. And I commented on there, and I actually reposted her tweet, and I shared my comment. I said, actually, Florida is not pro-gun enough for most of us. And when you see things like this come out, and all the stuff we talked about, Florida is not necessarily super pro-gun. Like, they're kind of neutral on some areas, right? So you do get a lot of diversity in Florida because of the people that flock to Florida, literally snowbirds that flock to Florida. People come from all over the United States to retire to Florida. Mm-hmm. And when they come there, they bring all of their views and their politics with them. So Florida is a melting pot of many different views and many different political aspirations. And then there's probably, of course, a lot of people that end up moving to Florida and they just want to be left alone and retire and do cool things, hang out on the beach, whatever. Okay,
feed the pelicans.
Yeah, feed the pelicans, whatever they want to do, But the point is it is weird that everyone views Florida as the Alamo for conservative views and for, let's just say people that think the way a lot of us do, on the right or whatever you want to call it. I really hate saying left or right, but let's just say people that kind of honor the human condition in terms of our where we came from and everything like that. Anyway, they want things to stay the same, right? Conservatism, whatever. But not necessarily as far down that rabbit hole as they think they are, right? And you got guys like this that want to raise the age to purchase a rifle or shotgun to a higher age, presumably 21 or maybe even older.
21 is, I would assume, is what they're getting at because that's the legal age currently to purchase a handgun.
Right. But it makes you wonder, it's like, again, when we did that video talking about, is Florida really that pro-gun? I can't really say that they really are. I mean, yeah, it's probably not as bad as some states or whatever, I'm sure, but you think about, look at their fireworks laws. You can't shoot fireworks in Florida except on the 4th of July.
Well, you used to not be able to shoot them in Georgia.
Right. Well, yeah, but in Georgia, I can go out on my back porch right now and lay off a whole barrage. And it doesn't matter. But in Florida, you can only shoot fireworks on the 4th of July. That's boring. I mean, come on.
There's a guy that's close to me that shoots fireworks like every weekend. I'm like, dude, like you're killing me, man.
Yeah. But one can only surmise what the text of this bill is going to wind up saying. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of information, but we want to make you abreast of it.
So the thing with this bill, this bill, like I said, was just recently introduced, but recently, the video that Eric did with Matt and Clint from Meet the Pressers regarding Florida and being like anti or pro-gun was in regards to a proposed law allowing or disallowing the purchase of handguns, from 18, 19, and 20-year-olds and whatnot, because there's been talk about allowing 18-year-olds to purchase handguns because, you can join the military, you can vote, you can do all these other things, but they won't allow you to buy a handgun. What's really the difference in a handgun and a rifle? Okay, so...
But this is federal legislation.
This is federal, but... This is the thing here. A federal appeals court ruled Tuesday that, or this was a little while back in July, that the long-standing federal ban on the sales of handguns from licensed dealers to 18 to 20-year-olds is unconstitutional because Congress in the 1960s did not demonstrate a good enough reason for the law. So, if this was deemed unconstitutional, then how is this bill going to go anywhere restricting the purchase of long guns from 18, 19, and 20-year-olds.
And how is the Florida state law, going to hold any water either?
It's not. If this is the case and if this stands. But it's just curious, why is it 21? Why is 21 the magic number? 21 to drink. Okay, well, you get a driver's license at 16.
They'll send you overseas and put you behind a machine gun, and you'll have an M4 with a 203 with grenades hanging off your body, and pin flares and lasers that can put people's eyeballs out and stuff like really powerful visible lasers. They'll put all that in your hands at 19, as long as you're willing to go on a gun truck overseas. But you can't even own a pistol.
Yeah, you get back home, you join, you go through basic, you ship out, you come back, you're not even 20 yet, and you can't go out and buy a handgun. And if this was the case, you wouldn't be able to buy a rifle. You wouldn't be able to buy the semi-automatic version of the rifle you used in the military that you were issued to defend yourself and your compatriots with, to defend your home.
Right.
That's pretty damn asinine.
Yes, it is. So we wanted to just make sure that you guys are kind of keep your ear to the ground on these two particular bills. The 4992 probably ain't going to grow legs, but keep an eye on it. Just need to know that these kind of things are happening. And I wanted to take a moment quickly to just sort of mention, too, that don't give up on those states fights. Those are super, super important. Any of the legislation that's happening at the state level, you've got to keep your eye on that stuff. The federal stuff is very important to keep your eye on and to know when these things are happening. And FPC does a great job of keeping people filled in on these things as they happen. And it's always sort of a dynamic and constantly moving environment in terms of these things coming and going. It's like, something like 4992 will get, maybe some text published, and then it won't even make it out of committee because people are going to beat the war drum like crazy, right? But it doesn't mean that. So what they're doing is they're throwing spaghetti at the wall, and they're just hoping that something will stick. So they know if they throw enough bills in there, at least if one thing happens to at least make it through the House, and they can at least say, oh, well, look, we're doing something, right? It's just politics, right? They have to pander to the base that they think they're pandering to. And that's what's so crazy about it, is these folks on the far left, and sorry, I just have to say it's usually Democrats, okay?
It is what it is.
It is what it is, okay? There's no way around it. But like when these Democrats, these far left Democrats, put these bills out there, they think they're pandering to their constituents, but are they really? I mean, there are so many more folks that are on the other side of the equation that are buying guns, and good for them, right? Like there's people that probably do not agree with me politically or don't even agree with my lifestyle, but you better believe they've gone out and bought an AR and they've bought a Glock and they've bought guns to protect themselves. So you've got more and more people owning guns across many, many different facets of political views, right? So for someone to say, well, because I have a D next to my name, I have to propose anti-gun legislation to please my constituents. Now you're getting people, even on the left, that are like, well, we don't want you doing that either because we own guns. Like that affects our ability to protect ourselves. So if each point, each side of the fence is yelling at each other, saying how much of a threat each other is to each other, right? Well, then why don't everybody just buy a gun and own a gun, and then it ain't a big deal because everyone's equal? Like why is it so hard to understand? Are you so worried about your own inconsistencies and inabilities? And incompetence, that you're so worried that you aren't capable of using a gun responsibly that you want everyone else to not own a gun? That's not how it works. Okay, you don't fight a war and pull up to the battlefield and go, you can't have a gun. Like, well, no, the enemy has guns, right? Like they're going to protect themselves from you. You don't get to just say, well, give up your guns. No, it's like King Leonidas said, come and take them, right? Like, no, I'm not giving up my shield and sword. Screw you. So that's the issue that we're all running into, is one side wants to fight with words, right? They want to say, well, you can't do that. And then the other side goes, well, yes, we can. Here, we have it. Screw you. We have it. You don't. Why doesn't everybody just buy a gun and don't worry about it? Why is that so hard to understand? Why does it always have to be such a polarizing political environment where guns are, for some reason, just such a polarizing issue for a certain group of people within this country? But it's not a polarizing issue. You just choose to not have the emotional integrity to go, you know what, I might be very much against this, but I'm going to own a gun because I realize that it's important to protect myself from people that might hurt me. If all these people are out here trying to hurt you that you claim are out there, well then why not buy a gun? I don't understand how hard it is to get that concept through someone's mind. All right. If you had a family member that got killed in a drunk driving accident, are you going to throw all your cars in a shredder and vow never to drive a car again? No. Cars are an essential part of everyday life. You have to travel to and from, right? Guns are an essential part of everyday life. You have to protect yourself. They're not going anywhere. Just because you have this emotional response to the way you look at firearms ownership as a whole doesn't mean that your emotions are going to dictate the actions of anyone else.
But Eric, the police will protect me.
No, they're not going to protect you.
But that's what they tell me.
That's not their job.
But that's what they tell me.
They do not have a duty to protect you. You have a very, very, very distinct and important responsibility and duty to protect yourself. Mm-hmm. They're just there to go, wow, something went down here. Well, what end of that equation do you want to be on?
Need to file a report.
Yeah, they're going to draw a chalk line, and all right, here it is. What side of that chalk line do you want to be on? You want to be above ground, or you want to be, you have the social distancing, the permanent social distancing. You'll always be social distance because you'll be 6 feet under. You'll always be 6 feet from someone for eternity.
Well, that's a buy moment.
Look, it is a buy moment, but that's the thing. These bills are very confusing to me. Like, I just can't understand how anyone with any level of common sense would support it.
Well, because there's all kinds of statistical data out there from the FBI. You can look it right up on the website. All right. You go to this one section that says crime by 18, 19, and 20-year-olds, and boy, I'm kidding. I'm joking, guys. I'm joking. There's no statistical analysis for 18, 19, and 20-year-olds and the amount of crime that they commit. Stupid. Because of the 3 years, we're gonna restrict gun ownership from these individuals for those 3 years, and by golly, that's gonna fix all of our problems. There are gangbangers and things like that are carrying around guns right now at 16 years old. Or younger.
And they did not fill out a 4473. They're going to get their guns however the heck they want. And there ain't nothing you can do about it. So this stuff, to just officially have some stance where, we're going to change the age and make it harder. You're only affecting the people that are honest people that are going to buy guns through normal means anyway. So why do it? It just doesn't make sense.
In my opinion, I always go back to Chicago. We always go back to Chicago because Chicago is it's just a cesspool for gun violence as a whole, right? And they think that adding more laws to the books in Chicago, look at Lightfoot, Lori Lightfoot right now. She screams for more gun control, but really all she's doing is just trying to cover up her own inadequacies in that position. She
only enforces our position even more by wanting more gun control because she clamors and clamors and clamors and wants more and more and more control. And what happens? Nothing changes. The entire environment is way worse and continuously worse. And those laws do absolutely nothing. So if anything, they actually enforce our position even more every time they pass another gun law in a Democrat-controlled city.
Yeah, I mean, they literally are covering up their own failures. More or less. I mean, that's just the way that I look at it. Over the years, just more and more of these large municipalities, Democrat-controlled, whatever the case is, leftist-controlled, anti-gunners, whatever the case might be, just their policy decisions have impacted the public at large in a negative way as far as gun ownership and whatnot goes. The more gun control you typically have in an area, the more crime and such, because there's not as much, deterrence, if you will. We've talked about this in the past, and there's plenty of data out there to prove it. All you have to do is just go look for it. But it's insane for reps to think that this is going to solve all the problems. All this nonsense. I mean, 100 of these bills aren't going to solve all the problems.
The harder you make it for a civilian to buy a gun, the more empowered the criminals are going to be because they're going to get a gun regardless.
Easy.
So the best way you could possibly do, just like Kennesaw here in Georgia, we've got City of Kennesaw. Now, it's not enforced in terms of a strict thing, but Kennesaw actually has kind of a little law that says that every head of household must own a gun.
That's been in effect since the 80s.
It has, but the crime, when compared to similar-sized cities with similar demographics and a similar proximity geographically to Kennesaw, lower crime. Who would have thought? So now a cop isn't going to go around door to door and go, I have to make sure you have your gun that we told you to get. But if a criminal goes, well, holy crap, everyone has to have a gun here, they don't know who has a gun and who doesn't. So they're constantly going to be like, you know what, maybe we should drive down to the next city to commit some crimes because we're going to get our butts blown away if we enter a city or we enter a home in Kennesaw, Georgia.
And the next city is Atlanta. Bye. We'll be seeing you.
They're going to go somewhere else. It's not worth the risk, right? So gun ownership makes the risk of criminals committing crime astronomically high and not worth it, right? They want soft targets. People without guns are soft targets. So therefore, criminals commit crimes in areas where they know people don't have guns. How is this so hard to understand? I feel like I can talk till I'm blue in the face, and no one will understand how human nature works. Laws do not dictate and control human nature. You cannot regulate morality. You can't. So, anyway, keep an eye on these two bills. And I really appreciate everybody watching. You got anything else, Chad?
Look, go over to FPC. The links will be below. I mean, if you guys haven't already seen them. But they have an awesome function on the website where you can just immediately contact your reps regarding these bills, send an email out, and just let your voices be heard.
FPC's been doing a great job. I donate to them monthly, and I do try to also donate some additional money. From here and there when I can.
Is that from your OnlyFans page?
Yes, actually, it is from my OnlyFans page. Yeah, my secret OnlyFans page where they pay me to put my clothes back on.
That's not secret anymore.
Yeah, well, yeah, my OnlyFans page is called Dickie Normus. If you want to check it out. Anyway.
Oh boy.
I digress. Have a great day. And look, FBC is doing a great job. Support them if you can. A big thank you to all of our Patreon supporters, those of you who purchase man cans. Also, we've got some great t-shirts over on the website. Go check out Ballistic Ink. If you want to support the channel directly, I don't have an OnlyFans, just so you know. Don't go looking. I'm not there.
I wonder how many people are like, what the hell?
Have a good one. Many more videos on the way. We'll see you next time.
See you guys.